I want to elaborate, or have some of you all elaborate on this piece, and that, when I was reflecting back this week, eBOARD has been in existence for 10 years. And there's probably some 160 school districts in Georgia that use eBOARD in some form or fashion. And it started very simply for the Board of Education. And I know some of you have already commented how it's grown beyond that. And of course, as I know these folks know, it doesn't cost anything more to take it beyond the board. And so any advice or thoughts or any kind of resistance that you've seen, because obviously some of you have experienced, you started experiencing it with the board. Now I'm hearing, at the principal and having it for meetings at the high school, having it for some of your cabinet meetings or staff meetings, your new now governance teams in this new structure of charter system. Any challenges or resistance that you're seeing in taking it beyond the board, or thoughts about that? Tom?
So one thing that we did in City Schools of Decatur as we moved forward with charter is that we were definitely committed that eBOARD would be the governance solution that all of our school leadership teams, that's the nomenclature we use for our charter governance teams. But our schools are incredibly small, and there aren't a lot of clerical staff. And so the front office person is also the school nurse. She's also the person that makes sure the buses come. She's also 17 other things. And to add this on top of it was not going to happen. And so we were very fortunate that a person at the central office who handled eBOARD for the Board of Education stepped up and said, yeah, I'll manage 6 more eBOARD sites. And so she handles all of our school leadership team sites as well as the district site. That has been incredibly beneficial. At some point that may change, but I think that that's a tip or a strategy that perhaps a smaller district could think about using in order to leverage this at another level, at the school level particularly.
Great. Any other?
Mark? Yeah. For us, probably the biggest challenge for eBOARD at first was not going below the board level, but was actually getting our board members comfortable with it. From the standpoint, in all sincerity, some of us were technology challenged, learning to use it, but we also realized as a board, we are the mouthpiece to our community. So as we became more comfortable with it and adapted to it, we were able also to go out and speak to our community, because we knew that the staff was definitely taken care of down to the different levels within our system. And that's, really at first it was a little challenge for the board members to get a hang of it. Once we got it. Well,
that's a great point, and modeling from the top, number one, and then being able to advocate, to others, and I know that as we talk with boards all around, and I'm sure some of you have had experiences with this, and I'll ask you because so these districts I know have been on eBOARD for various durations, and but it's not uncommon that you don't find a board member or some board members who are not comfortable with technology. And obviously you've made a commitment to put information online, to be transparent. Any advice on how you've helped or worked with maybe some board members who haven't been as comfortable with using the technology? Any strategies related to that? Swain?
We've had a couple who have been a little leery.
Pull that microphone up to you there.
We've had a couple of board members who have been a little leery of using the technology. Some are almost foreign to technology. But we just sit down with them and we've trained them, and they've caught on and they use it, and they realize that it's really beneficial. It's a lot easier. It keeps them organized. It keeps everything that you need right there in front of them. During meetings, if they need to refer back to anything, all of our policies are there. Everything, if they need to go back to another meeting and see any other minutes, they can look back. But it just takes a little more time to sit down and spend some time with them. And eventually everybody has come to the agreement that it was a good thing. And it also, they see that our board as a role model to the students. Technology is pushed in our schools, and if the students are going to be using it, then we should be the role model that encourages it.
Right.
Well, you know, the greatest temptation for participating on panels is that you want to raise your hand and say, we do that too, you know. and almost everything you've said here, we do that as well. Our school board members are young at heart and in appearance, you know. You heard in the session this morning that if you're emailing, that's for old people. That's what old people do. But if you're several levels above that and really technology savvy, you're doing some of these other things. And our board members are there. You know, we text board members, you know, communicate with them on a number of ways using technology. The fascinating thing is to watch the audience at our school board meetings when the agenda is reflected, you know, on the screen, and they're able to see it, and as the board progresses through the agenda, you know, it's kind of active and live, and our community appreciates that tremendously. We have a community that examines practically everything we do, and that's a positive thing. You know, that's not a negative thing at all. And this notion of transparency is at a whole new level because of eBOARD. So there's anybody who wants to know anything about what we're doing, the facility is there for that to occur, and they're quite active doing that. We, especially with the passion that Jocelyn Fields has, we plan to execute every single module that's available. We plan to exhaust the agenda, the eBOARD agenda, using every single dynamic that we can use to enhance what we do as leaders, and to enhance what we do as we govern the business of our school district. So we're just delighted and see all of the possibilities and even the new challenges that Dr. Moore presented to you just a moment ago. We're moving toward 15-day assessments in our school system so that we can monitor progress along the way, and hope to establish scorecards along that line so that we can know exactly where we are. And the challenge to Mark is to ensure that we have that provision in eBOARD to get that particular that piece done.
That's right. It's
yeah.
it's never finished. It's never done. Ms. Seals, yes.
I just wanted to add that if your board members are resistant, get them to the eBOARD. It is an invaluable tool. I've only been on the board for 3 years, and my first year, I really needed the information that was available to me on the eBOARD. Being able to, at a glance, look at the school policies, to get familiar with them, looking at the vision, the mission statement, all of that, to get familiar with it without having to call someone up, because I'm a full-time employee and I'm a mom and I have all these other things going on. So if I have a few minutes, I can go to the eBOARD and find a wealth of knowledge about my school system that I can't find anyplace else, that I probably have to leave a dozen messages in order to get someone to call me back. You need to take advantage of the eBOARD and get your board members on the eBOARD so that they can find out the wealth of knowledge about your system and be able to express it to others. I know Richmond County mentioned they're being examined. Imagine being in a 4 square mile area where the parents of your students teach at Georgia Tech, Georgia State, Emory, work at the CDC, and are stay-at-home moms that have nothing better to do than think about school all day long while their children are away. These people are on the computer looking at what we're doing, and you need to be able to have that knowledge so that when they call you, as soon as that agenda pops up, they are looking at it. They're wanting to know specific questions about the things that you have on your agenda. And you need to know what's on that agenda, too, so that you can answer those questions effectively, or at least be able to tell them, I don't really know that answer, but please call the superintendent.
Chain of command.
But you do know what they're talking about. So, as I said, it is an invaluable tool, especially if you're a new board member. You really need to go in there to learn everything about your system that's out there.
You know, I'm glad you said that. You know, we just had, as some of you, any new board members in the room? Okay, so some of you, you've been through a lot in the last couple days, and you know how large of a group you had. 150 new school board members, and you come on the board, and what are, a resource in some of these places where you're wondering what has the board that you're now joining done over the last 2 years. You can call Christy Swain and ask her to look everything up for you, or you could go get it online. Which would you rather them do, Christy? Let them look. Dr. Perry, did you have something?
I just wanted to tell you about something that happened that was really unique yesterday. Prior to leaving our school district and coming here, we had a 21st century person in our school district who was doing some monitoring of that program. And he came into the office at the end of the day and was telling me about some of the things that he had checked. And when he started listing some of those things, I immediately thought of eBOARD. And I said to him, many of those things are online through eBOARD. And he said, I know it. I've already checked them off, and I did exactly that. I went to eBOARD and looked and found those things that your district is doing and gave you credit for it. So we need to think about monitoring, state, federal monitoring, and the things that some of those groups are looking for may be right there on eBOARD. It was in this situation.
Right.